What happens when a global superstar walks onto a daytime television set expecting smiles and soft applause, and instead finds herself staring down a question that feels more like an accusation than curiosity? Before we go any further, if you live for moments like this, for the raw, unfiltered drama behind celebrity smiles, subscribe to Stage View right now, like this video, and drop a comment below. You don't want to miss what's coming next. The studio lights of The View burn brighter than usual that morning. There's a low hum in the air, the kind that only exists when a live audience senses something they can't quite name yet. Jennifer Lopez steps out from backstage with that familiar confidence. Chin lifted, shoulders squared, every movement practiced but not mechanical. She's worn many faces over the years. The Bronx girl who made it, the pop icon, the actress, the mogul. Today, she's here to talk about her latest project, a celebration of reinvention, resilience, love. Or at least, that's what the booking notes say. Applause rolls through the room like a wave. Some people stand. Some cheer. Phones are subtly angled, ready to capture a moment that might go viral even if nothing goes wrong. Jennifer smiles, that signature smile that has sold records and movie tickets across decades. She waves, takes her seat, smooths her dress, and for a brief second, everything feels exactly as it should. Joy Behar sits across from her, cards in hand, glasses perched low on her nose. She's smiling too, but it's the kind of smile that doesn't quite reach the eyes. Joy has been in this chair for a long time. She's seen stars rise and fall, watched PR narratives crumble live on air. She knows how to wait. The opening pleasantries pass smoothly. Laughter. Compliments. A quick recap of Jennifer's career highlights. The audience relaxes, settles into the rhythm of a familiar talk show dance. Jennifer nods, adds a joke here, a heartfelt line there. She's warm, polished, present. Then Joy leans forward. "So Jennifer," she says, her tone light but precise, "you've built this incredible image around empowerment, around knowing your worth. But some people say there's a disconnect between the message and the choices, especially when it comes to relationships." The temperature in the room shifts. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but it's there. Jennifer's smile tightens, not gone, just adjusted. Her eyes flicker for half a second, a flash of calculation, of experience. "Well," Jennifer replies carefully, "I think everyone's journey is complicated. Love is complicated." Joy nods, as if agreeing. Then she presses. "Sure. But critics say you keep repeating the same patterns. Marrying, divorcing, going back to old flames. They ask, at what point does empowerment become avoidance?" There it is. A murmur ripples through the audience. A few gasps. One of the co-hosts shifts in her seat, suddenly very interested in her notes. The camera cuts briefly to Jennifer's face, and for the first time since she walked out, the polish cracks just enough for something real to show through. Jennifer inhales slowly. You can almost hear it through the microphones. She places her hands together on the table, fingers interlaced, grounding herself. "I think it's interesting," she says, voice steady but edged, "that a woman's love life is still used as a measure of her intelligence or strength." Joy raises an eyebrow. "I'm not saying that. I'm saying you've positioned yourself as a role model." "And I am," Jennifer replies, a little sharper now. "Because being a role model doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest about your mistakes." Applause breaks out, scattered but loud. Jennifer nods once, as if acknowledging the support, but her eyes stay locked on Joy. Joy doesn't back down. She never does. "But honesty also means accountability," Joy says. "Some fans feel like they're sold a fantasy, self-love, independence, while watching you revolve your life around men." The word men hangs in the air like smoke. Jennifer's jaw tightens. This isn't just an interview anymore. This is personal. She leans forward now, mirroring Joy's posture. "With all due respect," she says, "I don't revolve my life around men. I've built businesses. I've raised children. I've carried an entire career on my back since I was a teenager." Her voice doesn't rise, but the intensity does. The audience is silent now, hanging on every word. "And yes," she continues, "I love love. I believe in it. I refuse to apologize for that." Joy opens her mouth to respond, but Jennifer isn't finished. "And I also think," she adds, "that if a male artist had been married multiple times, we wouldn't even be having this conversation." A beat. Then applause, louder this time, more unified. Some people stand again. The camera cuts to Joy, whose expression flickers for just a moment. Surprise? Irritation? Something else? Joy exhales, leans back slightly. Fair point, she says. But the public invites scrutiny when you make your personal life part of your brand. Jennifer nods slowly. And the public doesn't get to decide how many times I'm allowed to try to be happy. The tension is thick now, almost tangible. You can feel producers backstage debating whether to cut to commercial early. You can sense the hosts calculating their next moves. This was supposed to be a conversation. It's turning into a confrontation. And it's only just beginning. The lights feel harsher as the conversation continues, each question landing heavier than the last. Jennifer can feel it. Years of headlines, whispers, think pieces compressed into a few minutes of live television. Joy flips another card, but this time she doesn't look down before speaking. Some would argue, Joy says, that the narrative around you is carefully controlled. That vulnerability is curated. Jennifer lets out a short laugh, not amused, not bitter, just tired. Everything on television is curated, she says, including this conversation. A few nervous chuckles from the audience. One of the co-hosts tries to interject, but Joy waves her off gently. So you're saying the criticism is unfair? Joy asks. I'm saying, Jennifer replies, that it's selective. She turns slightly, addressing not just Joy but the entire table. We celebrate men for their complexity, their flaws, their tortured genius. Women are told to pick a lane. Be strong, but not too strong. Be romantic, but not too romantic. Be honest, but only in ways that make other people comfortable. Her voice wavers just a touch now. Not weakness, emotion. I've lived my life in public, she continues. Every heartbreak, every mistake. And I've survived all of it. That's not a failure. That's resilience. The audience erupts again. Even Joy can't deny the energy in the room. She adjusts her glasses, choosing her next words more carefully. I hear you, Joy says. But do you understand why people feel disappointed when their idols don't live up to the image? Jennifer's eyes soften just a little. I do, she says. But maybe it's time we stop asking women to be idols and let them be human. Silence follows. The kind of silence that means something landed. A producer's voice crackles faintly through an earpiece. They're running out of time. The director signals for a wrap-up. Joy nods, but before she can close, Jennifer speaks again. And Joy, she adds, not unkindly, I respect you, but I won't sit here and be reduced to my relationships. I've worked too hard for that. Joy meets her gaze. For a long moment, neither woman looks away. Then Joy smiles, this time genuinely. Point taken, she says. The tension releases in a collective exhale. Applause fills the studio, louder and more sustained than before. Jennifer sits back, shoulders relaxing for the first time since the question was asked. But backstage and across the internet, the moment has already ignited something much bigger than a daytime TV debate. By the time the episode ends, clips are circulating at lightning speed. Twitter explodes with hashtags. Some hail Jennifer as a feminist icon standing her ground. Others accuse her of deflecting valid criticism. Body language experts dissect every glance. Commentators replay Joy's questions frame by frame, analyzing tone, intent, power dynamics. Jennifer steps into her car outside the studio, phone buzzing nonstop. Her team scrolls through reactions, eyes wide. This wasn't just a viral moment. It was a cultural flashpoint. Joy, meanwhile, sits quietly in her dressing room, makeup still on, staring at her reflection. She's no stranger to backlash or praise. But even she can feel it. This exchange struck a nerve. That night, entertainment shows lead with the story. Jennifer Lopez shuts down Joy Behar live on air. The View turns explosive. Empowerment or evasion? J.Lo sparks debate. Jennifer posts nothing. No statement. No clarification. Just a single black and white photo hours later. Her on stage, mic in hand, eyes closed. The caption reads, still standing. Comments pour in by the thousands. Some thank her for saying what so many women feel. Others challenge her to go further, to reflect deeper. The conversation grows, mutates, spreads beyond her. And that's the real aftermath. Not who won the exchange, but how it forced everyone watching to confront their own expectations, their own judgments. So now it's your turn. What did you think of Jennifer Lopez confronting Joy Behar live on The View? Was she defending herself or avoiding accountability? Did Joy cross a line or ask the hard questions no one else would? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Share this video with someone who loves celebrity drama and subscribe to Stage View for more explosive cinematic stories that pull you right into the moment. The cameras may have cut to commercial, but the tension never left the room. As the red live light dims, the studio exhales in fragments, nervous laughter from the audience, whispered exchanges between producers, the shuffle of cue cards being reorganized like shields. Jennifer Lopez remains seated, posture composed, but there's a subtle shift now. The armor is still on, yet something underneath it is breathing harder than before. Joy Behar glances down at the table, tapping her pen once, twice. For a split second, she looks less like a veteran host and more like someone replaying the last few minutes in her head, wondering which words will be clipped, which pauses will be weaponized online. One of the co-hosts leans toward Jennifer, voice low, meant only for her. "You okay?" she asks. Jennifer smiles politely, nods. "I'm good," she says. But her eyes give her away. They're glossy, not with tears, but with adrenaline. The kind that comes when you've just defended yourself in public and you're not entirely sure if the world will understand what you meant, or twist it into something else. The producer signals, 10 seconds to air. Joy straightens, professional instinct snapping back into place. The show must go on. The red light flares again. "And we're back," Joy says smoothly, as if nothing seismic has just occurred. "Jennifer, let's talk about your new film." But Jennifer doesn't lean back into comfort. Instead, she stays forward, engaged, almost daring the moment to try her again. They talk about art, about storytelling, about women leading narratives. Jennifer speaks eloquently, passionately, but there's an undercurrent now. Every word feels like a response to what came before, even when it's not. "I think stories have power," Jennifer says, eyes flicking briefly to Joy. "Especially when they allow women to exist without judgment." Joy nods, measured. "That's something we can all agree on." The audience applauds lightly, but it's different applause, thoughtful, restrained. They're not reacting to entertainment anymore. They're reacting to an idea. When the segment finally ends for real this time, the applause is genuine, but subdued. Jennifer stands, thanks the hosts, hugs a couple of them. When she reaches Joy, there's a moment, half a second, where neither woman moves. Then Joy opens her arms. Jennifer hesitates, just slightly, then steps in. The hug is brief, polite, performative. Cameras catch it from every angle. To the world, it looks like closure. Backstage, it's anything but. The hallway behind the set buzzes like a hive that's just been shaken. Assistants rush past with phones in hand, whispering updates before anyone even asks. "It's already trending," someone murmurs. Clips are everywhere. Twitter's on fire. Jennifer's manager meets her halfway down the hall, face tight. "We need to talk," he says. They duck into a quiet room, the door closing softly behind them. The silence inside is heavier than the noise outside. Jennifer drops into a chair, finally allowing her shoulders to slump. She rubs her temples, eyes closed. "I knew she was going there," she says quietly. "I just didn't think she'd go that hard." Her manager exhales. "You handled it," he says. "Strong. Honest." Jennifer opens her eyes. "Honest enough?" she asks. The question isn't rhetorical. Meanwhile, across the building, Joy sits alone in her dressing room, jacket draped over a chair. She removes her glasses and massages the bridge of her nose. Her phone buzzes. She doesn't pick it up. She's replaying Jennifer's words in her mind. "I won't sit here and be reduced to my relationships. I've worked too hard for that." Joy has built her career on challenging narratives, on poking at the glossy surface of celebrity culture. But this time, something feels different. Not wrong, exactly. Just heavier. A producer knocks lightly. "You okay?" he asks. Joy nods. "I'm fine," she says. They always get mad when you ask real questions. But even as she says it, she wonders, was it a real question or a familiar one? And does familiarity make it fair? By the time Jennifer steps out into the New York afternoon, paparazzi are already waiting. Cameras click furiously, voices calling her name, shouting questions layered over each other. "Jennifer, how do you feel about Joy's comments? Do you think she crossed a line? Was this planned?" Jennifer pauses at the car door. For a moment, she considers saying nothing. Silence has power, too. Then she turns. "I said what I needed to say," she tells them calmly. "That's all." She gets into the car, door slamming shut like a period at the end of a sentence. The vehicle pulls away, leaving the questions hanging in the air. Inside the car, her phone lights up endlessly. Messages from friends, from colleagues, from people she hasn't heard from in years. One text stands out. From her mother. "Proud of you." Jennifer leans back, eyes closing. For the first time since the interview began, A small, genuine smile breaks through. Across the internet, the narrative fractures into 1,000 different versions. Some clips focus on Joy's question, framing it as an ambush. Others isolate Jennifer's response, turning it into a rallying cry. Reaction videos pop up within hours, faces frozen mid-gasp, thumbnails screaming disbelief. She ate that, one influencer declares. She dodged accountability, another counters. Panels assemble. Hashtags trend. Hashtag Team JLo. Hashtag The View Drama. Hashtag Joy Behar. Articles are written at breakneck speed, opinions masquerading as analysis. Is Jennifer Lopez a feminist icon or a master of image control? Did Joy Behar challenge hypocrisy or reinforce misogyny? No one agrees. Everyone has something to say. Late that night, Jennifer sits alone in her living room, city lights glowing through the windows. The house is quiet. Too quiet. She scrolls through her phone, against her better judgment. Praise. Criticism. Praise again. Criticism sharper this time. She always plays the victim. She's right, we never let women be human. She knew what she was doing going on that show. She didn't answer the question. Jennifer locks the phone and sets it down, hands trembling slightly. She thinks back to the moment Joy leaned forward. The way the question landed, not curious, but loaded. She remembers the heat rising in her chest, the instinct to protect something deeper than reputation. Her story. She whispers to the empty room. I'm allowed to change. The words hang there, fragile but defiant. The next morning, Joy wakes early. Too early. She makes coffee, sits at her kitchen table, and finally opens her phone. Notifications flood in. Support. Criticism. Some vicious, some thoughtful. One message catches her attention. A woman writes, I love you, Joy, but watching that made me realize how often we judge women for trying again at love. It hurt. Joy stares at the screen longer than she expects to. Later that day, The View holds an internal meeting. Producers discuss the fallout, the ratings spike, the headlines. From a business standpoint, it's a success. From a human standpoint, it's complicated. We might need to address it on tomorrow's show, someone suggests. Joy listens, arms crossed. Or we let it speak for itself, she says. People heard what they heard. But privately, she knows the moment isn't finished. Moments like that never are. Jennifer, meanwhile, is pulled into another round of meetings. PR strategies. Potential statements. Opportunities to capitalize on the attention. We could do a follow-up interview, someone proposes. Control the narrative. Jennifer shakes her head. No, she says. I'm not turning my life into a debate club. She stands, signaling the end of the discussion. I said what I said. That night, late, she finally posts something. Not an explanation. Not an apology. Just a quote. Growth doesn't always look pretty. The post explodes within minutes. And somewhere between the noise, the outrage, the applause, something shifts. Not cleanly. Not completely. But enough to make people pause. Because this wasn't just about Jennifer Lopez or Joy Behar. It was about who gets to define a woman's worth. And how loudly she's allowed to push back when she refuses the definition handed to her. And the conversation is far from over. The third day after the episode airs is when the noise changes. It's no longer just loud, it's sharp. Jennifer feels it the moment she wakes up. Not from a notification, but from a heaviness in her chest, the kind that tells you something has shifted while you were asleep. She sits up in bed, sunlight slicing through the curtains, and reaches for her phone despite promising herself she wouldn't. The headlines are no longer reactive. They're definitive. J.Lo versus Joy, a cultural reckoning. Was Jennifer Lopez really confronted? Or did she control the narrative? The View moment that split the internet in half. Jennifer scrolls slowly, deliberately, as if moving too fast might make it worse. The praise has hardened into expectations. The criticism has sharpened into accusations. She weaponized feminism. She turned accountability into applause. She was brave. She was evasive. There's no middle ground left. Her assistant texts to say the car is downstairs. Jennifer types back, 5 minutes. She stands, looks at her reflection in the mirror. Same face the world has seen for decades. But her eyes look different to her now, more alert, more guarded. Today wasn't supposed to be about this. Today was supposed to be rehearsal. Music. Movement. Control. Instead, every step out of her apartment feels like walking into an invisible courtroom. At the studio, the mood is tense. Conversations stop when she enters, then resume in lower tones. People are careful with her now. Not hostile, not reverent. Just cautious. Morning, she says, bright but restrained. Morning, they echo back. As rehearsal begins, Jennifer loses herself in the rhythm, letting muscle memory take over. Dance has always been her refuge. It doesn't argue with her. It doesn't reinterpret her intentions. But even here, it follows her. During a break, one of the dancers scrolls through her phone and doesn't realize Jennifer is standing nearby. Did you see what they're saying now? The dancer whispers to someone else. They're calling it the most uncomfortable view moment since. Jennifer clears her throat softly. The dancer freezes, mortified. Sorry, Jennifer says gently. It's okay, but it's not. Not really. Across town, Joy Behar sits in the familiar studio chair again, this time without a guest opposite her. The audience applauds as usual, but the energy is strange, anticipatory, loaded. Joy knows what they're waiting for. She opens the show with a measured smile. So, she begins, I think it's safe to say we had a moment earlier this week. The audience laughs nervously. Joy continues carefully. A lot of strong reactions. And that's okay. Conversations should make people uncomfortable sometimes. One of the co-hosts jumps in. Social media definitely had thoughts. That's putting it mildly, Joy replies. They talk around it at first. Media pressure. Public discourse. The role of talk shows. Joy is articulate, calm, in control. But she doesn't mention Jennifer by name. Not yet. Finally, a co-host turns to her. Do you regret how you phrased the question? Joy pauses. This pause is different from the others. Longer. More honest. I don't regret asking about the contradiction between public image and personal choices, she says slowly. But I do think sometimes the way we ask matters as much as what we ask. The audience quiets. This isn't defiance. It's reflection. And I think, Joy adds, Jennifer made a fair point about how women are judged. That doesn't mean the conversation shouldn't happen, but maybe it needs to happen differently. Clips of this moment spread almost as fast as the original confrontation. Some see it as accountability. Others call it damage control. Joy knows the difference doesn't matter anymore. The narrative has its own life now. Later that afternoon, Jennifer's team brings up Joy's comments. She softened, her manager says. That's good. Jennifer nods but doesn't look relieved. It's not about softening, she says. It's about listening. Her manager watches her closely. Do you feel heard? Jennifer considers the question. By some people, she says. By others. I think they already decided who I am. That night, Jennifer attends a private industry event. She almost cancels, but something in her refuses to retreat. The room is full of familiar faces, actors, executives, artists who've known her through different versions of herself. Some greet her warmly, others with polite distance. A director approaches her near the bar. That view thing, he says, lowering his voice. Intense. Jennifer smiles thinly. Live TV usually is. He nods. For what it's worth, my daughter watched it. She said, finally, someone said it out loud. Jennifer blinks, caught off guard. That means a lot, she says, and realizes she means it. But not everyone is supportive. Later, she overhears two executives speaking just out of earshot. She's always been smart about her image. Yeah, but now it's risky. Brands don't like controversy. Jennifer turns away before they notice her. The words lodge somewhere deep, familiar. She's heard variations of them her entire career. Too loud, too emotional, too complicated. Back home, she pours herself a glass of wine she doesn't really want and sits on the balcony, city lights pulsing below like a heartbeat. She thinks about every time she's been told to soften, to simplify, to stay likable. She thinks about Joy, not as an opponent, but as a mirror. A woman who carved out space in a system that rarely offered it freely. A woman who learned to survive by asking sharp questions. Jennifer wonders if they're more alike than either of them would admit. The next morning, a long-form op-ed drops from a respected cultural critic. Why Jennifer Lopez's moment on The View made us uncomfortable, and why it should. The piece doesn't praise her blindly or condemn her outright. It dissects the moment with care, placing it in a broader context of how female celebrities are consumed, scrutinized, and disciplined. Jennifer reads it slowly, paragraph by paragraph. For the first time since the interview, she feels something loosen in her chest. Someone understood. But understanding doesn't stop the backlash. A viral thread begins circulating, compiling every relationship Jennifer has had, complete with timelines and commentary. It's framed as context, but it feels more like a trial. Jennifer's children come home from school quieter than usual. Someone asked about you today. One of them says carefully. Jennifer's heart clenches. What did they ask? Why people are mad at you? Jennifer kneels in front of them, meeting their eyes. Are you mad at me? They shake their heads. Then we're okay, she says softly, pulling them into a hug. But inside, something hardens. This is the line. This is where the conversation stops being abstract. Across the city, Joy receives an email from a longtime friend. You weren't wrong, it reads. But maybe she wasn't either. Joy stares at the words. She thinks about the first time she was told she was too much. Too loud. Too opinionated. Too abrasive. Ready to admit it or not. She thinks about how many times she learned to sharpen herself just to be heard. That evening, Joy sits down to write. Not for the show. Not for social media. Just for herself. She writes about intention versus impact. About how power shifts when a question is asked by someone holding the microphone. About how even truth can wound if it's delivered without care. She doesn't plan to publish it, but the act of writing feels necessary. Jennifer, meanwhile, is asked to appear on another major show. A chance to clarify. To respond. She declines. Instead, she records a song late one night. Not for release. Not yet. Just for herself. The lyrics are raw. Unpolished. About being watched. About being loved and judged in the same breath. About trying again when the world keeps count. As she sings, her voice cracks, not dramatically, but honestly. And in that moment, alone in the studio, Jennifer feels something close to peace. Not because the world has stopped talking, but because she stopped trying to convince it. By the end of the week, the story begins to shift again. Not disappearing, but settling into something deeper. Less spectacle. More reflection. College classes discuss the moment. Podcasts analyze it. Women argue about it over dinner tables and group chats. Not about Jennifer Lopez. About themselves. And somewhere between the headlines and the quiet moments, between accusation and applause, the confrontation transforms into something else entirely. Not a clash. And if you want more explosive cinematic stories that pull you inside the moments everyone else just headlines, subscribe to Stage View right now. Share this video, join the conversation, and stay with us for what happens next. A catalyst. By the second week, the storm doesn't disappear. It settles. The clips stop trending at the top of the page, but they don't vanish. They sink into timelines, into group chats, into late-night conversations where people aren't shouting anymore, just thinking. The kind of thinking that lingers. Jennifer feels the difference first in the silence. No frantic calls. No emergency meetings. Just a steady hum of normal life trying to return. She wakes early, makes coffee, watches the city stretch awake below her window. For the first time since the interview, she doesn't reach for her phone right away. When she finally does, there's a message waiting. Not from a publicist. Not from a brand. From Joy. It's short. Been thinking a lot about that day. Hope you're okay. Jennifer stares at the screen longer than she expects to. No apology. No defense. Just acknowledgement. She types, deletes, types again. So have I. Hope you are too. She hits send before she can overthink it. Across town, Joy exhales when she sees the reply. She hadn't known what she was hoping for. Anger, distance, nothing at all. This feels human. Complicated, but human. On The View, the audience still asks for Jennifer. Some applaud louder when Joy speaks now. Others watch more closely. Every question Joy asks feels heavier to her, as if she's suddenly aware of the weight behind each word. During a break, one of the younger producers says quietly, "My mom called me after that episode. She said she saw herself in both of you." Joy nods slowly. That might be the most honest review she's heard yet. Jennifer steps back into public life carefully, not hiding but not performing either. At her next event, a reporter tries to bait her. "Do you think Joy Behar owes you an apology?" he asks. Jennifer pauses, eyes steady. "I think we all owe each other better listening," she says. That's it. The clip goes viral, but this time it lands differently. Less fire. More reflection. Then something unexpected happens. A college posts a panel discussion titled, "Public Women and Private Choices, the J.Lo Joy Behar Moment." Sociology students dissect it. Media ethics classes debate it. Clips are played not for shock, but for study. Jennifer watches one of the panels online late one night. A young woman raises her hand and says, "What bothered me wasn't the question. It was the assumption that a woman's mistakes cancel her wisdom. Jennifer feels her throat tighten. That same week, a major magazine publishes a cover story, not about the clash, but about the ripple effect. Interviews with women who felt seen, with women who felt challenged, with women who disagreed entirely but appreciated the conversation. The headline reads, "After the applause fades." Joy reads it over breakfast. Jennifer reads it between rehearsals. Neither of them is quoted directly. And somehow that feels right. The backlash doesn't disappear completely. It never does. Some corners of the internet still mock, still tally, still reduce. But the volume lowers. What replaces it is stranger and heavier. Reflection. Jennifer notices it when fans approach her now. Not asking about the drama, but about themselves. "Thank you," one woman says after a show, eyes shining. "I've been married 3 times. I always felt like I failed. Watching you, I don't feel that way anymore." Jennifer hugs her without thinking. No cameras. No captions. Joy notices it too. Viewers write in saying the episode made them reconsider how they judge women in their own lives. Sisters. Mothers. Themselves. One letter ends with, "I still don't agree with Jennifer Lopez, but I stopped calling her weak." Joy folds the letter carefully and keeps it. Weeks later, the 2 women run into each other unexpectedly at an industry event. No stage. No audience. Just a quiet corner near the exit. There's an awkward beat. Then Joy smiles. "Well," she says, "we certainly gave people something to talk about." Jennifer smiles back, softer than before. "Guess we did." Another pause. "I could have asked it better," Joy admits. Jennifer nods. "And I could have answered differently," she says. "But maybe it happened the way it needed to." Joy considers that, then extends her hand. Jennifer takes it. The handshake turns into a brief, genuine hug. Someone nearby recognizes them, raises a phone, then hesitates, unsure. The moment passes undocumented. And somehow, that feels like the real ending. Except it isn't. Because months later, the clip resurfaces again, not as breaking news, but as reference. Someone links it in a thread about public accountability. Another uses it in a debate about feminism. Another plays it for a daughter and asks, "What do you think?" The moment has outgrown them. Jennifer releases new music. One song, quiet and raw, resonates deeply. Critics note the vulnerability. Fans connect the dots. Jennifer never confirms anything. Joy continues asking questions, sharp ones, thoughtful ones, but with a new awareness. Viewers notice. So does she. The audience reaction, in hindsight, becomes the loudest voice of all. Not the applause in the studio. Not the outrage online. But the ongoing conversation. The way people paused before judging. The way some softened. The way others stood firmer, but with clarity instead of cruelty. That's the real aftermath. Not a winner. Not a loser. A shift. So now the story is in your hands. When Jennifer Lopez confronted Joy Behar live on The View, what did you really see? A woman defending herself? A host doing her job? A culture colliding with its own expectations? Did that moment change how you judge public figures? Or how you judge yourself? Tell us what you think in the comments. Your voice matters here. And if you want more explosive cinematic stories that pull you inside the moments everyone else just headlines, subscribe to Stage View right now. Share this video, join the conversation, and stay with us for what happens next.